Good morning, everybody. It is still Sunday, the 3rd of January, and it is now 9:15 in the morning. And I am about to read chapter 12 of Been There, Done That, Still Not Bought the T-shirt. And the title of this chapter is The Truth in the Characters We Spy On. Oh, I cannot tell you how many giggles I got out of writing this chapter. And obviously you can see that there's a bit of a delay in each time because I'm reading back over the chapters just to make sure that I don't get caught out on any grammar things or whatever. And I'm still laughing at some of the stuff that I put into it. Obviously the first part is not, a laughing matter. But we get past the first part of it, but be prepared for this chapter. Yeah. So let's get on. Chapter 12, The Truth in the Characters We Spy. 2020 will always be grilled into many people's minds. We started the year thinking we were all going to be seeing clearly for the next year. And if you need it explained to you, perfect vision is 2020. I clearly don't have it. I'm wearing glasses. There are so many jokes about 2020 at the beginning of the year. The year 2020 is going to be filled with so many puns about perfect vision. I cannot wait to see them all. Is this bringing memories back to January 2020 or December 2019 as we headed into 2020? Just before I go any further, I kind of smiled at this part as well because it was a reminder that, there was hope when we started 2020. I know we didn't end that way, but there was when we started it. So let's go on and see what other bad puns came out. I know I will be able to clearly see all I need to do this year. I hate when people ask me what I'm going to be doing in 2 years. Like, come on, guys, I do not have 2020 vision. I cannot wait till New Year's Day 2021. Then I can say hindsight is really 2020. As any of you know, I don't believe in hindsight. 2020, the year of terrible optometry jokes. Okay, that one I screwed up. Sorry. However, the main reason for 2020 grilled in all our minds is that there was this thing that took place called COVID-19. Or at one stage, some people were calling it C19. With this came the mad extended hours of watching TV, and the likes of Netflix and Prime brought back very old TV series because nothing was being made. Nothing new was being made. And so we were reunited with long-lost characters that we had long forgotten about, or took advantage of finishing a series we never finished, or finally got the beginning of this series we wished we had at the time. So I found myself watching Dawson's Creek. Okay, no, laugh. Yeah. I was trying to figure out how to explain this. And really, it was a bunch of people who could not make up their minds about anything. And also a story filming a person whose ambition it was to film people filming people. Or words to that effect. It was a complete guilty pleasure watching this series. And the more I felt, woman, what are you doing watching this? The more I binge watched. When I tell you I just watched episode after episode, I was addicted to this show. And as I continued watching it, I actually asked myself, why was I so addicted? Seriously, I really wanted to take scissors to Dawson's hair in the beginning. Thanks be to God, he did finally cut it. Joey was nothing more than a moan. She really was. I do actually like Katie Holmes, but Katie, she was a moan. As for Jen, bless her, she was so lost, but the obvious was always there, right in front of her. And Pacey, Pacey, he really did need a kick. And Grams, actually, leave Grams alone. She was great. The question did keep coming up. Why was I allowing myself to be pulled into this madness? Was it the characters, the storylines, or just that I was so far removed from this type of existence that I found myself wondering what it would have been like to live an American teenage life? Sad and pathetic, considering I am, after all, 43 years of age? Or was it? The more I continued watching Dawson's Creek, the more I really felt like I wanted to incorporate this concept into my book. But then I had to toy with, would people really be able to relate to these characters? Because I think, in fairness, while again they may have dealt with life issues, they weren't characters I could have gotten on board with. And if you've not realised at this stage just how out there my brain actually is, I think you may be starting to get the idea now. So then the real question became, what TV series could be used? And the one that kept popping into my head was, of course, none other than Friends. Now, I am convinced that the question of why I was being pulled into this TV program cannot be posed to the characters of Dawson's Creek. No. I also did not remember it being this annoying the first time around. But I was addicted, people. I could not stop watching it. I was glued to this. It was a complete guilty pleasure, and I loved it. But I felt I was spying on these people from a great height. I think a bit like my alien theory, where they're all standing around looking at us from a great height. I also found myself questioning every time a character did something so ridiculous that cringing just did not seem enough. Was I like that at that age? This program was actually very good at completely sucking you in to the point you nearly felt like you were in the show. But then I always think when a show can do that, it definitely has done something right, even if it's cringe watching. It got me thinking about other TV shows and what ones we could spy on out of guilty pleasure, regardless of how bad they were or which characters we literally spy on, that it nearly becomes like you are living their reality. I know. For anyone that now thinks I've really lost the plot, I extend an invite to you to really look at yourself honestly and think about TV shows that have literally swept you up. I cannot stand reality shows. They just drive me up the wall. And so I do not watch them. But how many of you out there are just totally addicted to them? Be honest. Love Island, Big Brother, Made in Chelsea, Geordie Shore, Jersey Shore, The Bachelor, The Only Way is Essex, The Kardashians. If you are like me and waste no time on the above, my opinion of course, let me introduce you to the shows I do like. Good Witch, Friends, New Amsterdam, Dynasty, the new series and the old, The A-Team, Baywatch, Dawson's Creek, Castle, Rizzoli and Isles, Crossing Jordan, Cover Up, Frankie and Grace, The Vampire Diaries, True Blood, The Originals, The Big Bang Theory, The Fresh Prince, Fawlty Towers, Only Fools and Horses. Okay, so I need to stop there. This list is going to end up being endless. Looking at these lists, we ask ourselves some important questions as to why we watch them. Is it an escape from reality? Or do we identify with characters so profoundly we just cannot stop watching them? Oh my God, she went there. Has this woman no shame in what she asks us? And quite frankly, no, I don't. The whole escape from reality thing. Let us look at this. Yes, it is an escape from reality if the TV program is not dealing with everyday life. And I have to laugh when people say, it's not real, it's only a TV program or film. And that is quite true if it is a complete fantasy. But TV programs, while not based on real people, are based on real life events. They deal with love, heartache, friendship, jobs, money, family, etc., etc., etc. Love happens in real life. Meeting people happens in real life. Arguments happen in real life. Losing money, jobs happen in real life. I could give you a billion examples. The writers draw from life experiences. The only thing they have to do is to make sure they keep you interested. And how do they do that? By choosing actors, characters, and storylines that you can relate to and that draw you in, and in fact that you can relate back to either your own life or how you imagine your events in life can be. Oh no, I hear you yell at this book. This woman, she has just divulged one of my secrets. If you still do not believe my concept of the truth in the characters I spy on, why not take my suggestion of the ultimate TV show that unless you had no TV, everyone either knows about it or saw it? Friends, let us get the favorite question out of the way. Were you or are you a Monica, a Joey, a Phoebe, a Chandler, a Rachel, or a Ross? And who was your favorite character? And no, that is not the same question as the above. Your favorite character is either Monica, Joey, Phoebe, Chandler, Rachel, or Ross. But that doesn't mean to say that's who you are in life. For anyone that is not fans or did not see it, Friends was split into 10 seasons, and within each season there were 24 or 25 episodes, and 18 in the last one. Each episode was named either the one with or the one where. Catching on so far? There are 6 friends, a brother and a sister are also in the mix, and how their lives interact. Each episode dealt with life in some shape or form. But what the writers were able to do was to spin it into a comedy. But the fundamental point was still there. Rachel begins the season with coming into the coffee house after running out on her wedding. That's not so far-fetched thing to happen. But where the writers took it is because when she left her wedding, she ran to a coffee shop, still in her wedding dress, and then spoke to her father on the phone while still in that wedding dress, relating herself to a shoe or hat. That's what made it funny. Rachel and Ross's on again, off again romance and the breakup they went through. Remember how they spun that one into a comedy? Rachel did write an 18-page letter to him. Front and back. We were on a break. But they were able to spin it into something funny. Phoebe finding out about her biological mother and not having a relationship with her twin. Joey trying to become a famous actor. I'm Al Pacino's butt. Who can ever forget it? Chandler and his job that no one knows what he actually does. Rachel thought he was a transponster, then decides to reinvent himself later in life. I can certainly get on board with that. Ross and his breakdown. That was actually a really serious storyline. But they spun it because of the sandwich and the moist maker. Again, I could keep going with loads of examples, but at the end of the day, we all loved Friends and still watch it over and over again. The writers did draw on life experiences. They just made them funny to watch. So I ask that same question again. Is it an escape from reality? Or do we identify with characters so profoundly we just cannot stop watching them? I've not watched soaps in years, and mostly because we got rid of terrestrial telly. And we have Netflix, and at the time of writing this, we did have Prime. But I still do not take away from the talent of these writers, directors, producers, and for the actors to take on very real roles of the characters they play. The soaps do take these storylines to the bones, and they do that because it is real life issues they are bringing to the forefront, and especially to show you how different things affect people's lives. When I did watch, Emmerdale was my choice of soap, and I think all who are involved in the show are just incredible. Although I find myself scratching my head when you read how an actor is walking down the street and they are getting fierce abuse from the public for the character that they are playing. That is when people need to understand about separating TV from reality. I have found soaps hard to watch in the past, especially when it is something I have been through in my life, and I do feel like it is me reliving my past experience. However, I also know that it is not being vented at me personally, and that these wonderful producers of these shows and actors who are playing the parts are highlighting what does happen in real life. And if people just understood a small amount of what happens, then maybe out there in the real world, there would be an opportunity for a little more understanding and compassion. Unfortunately, I'm not so sure that message does leave the sitting rooms. Again, I pose the options to your mind. These characters that you love to watch, whether it be TV sitcom, soap, reality, movie, drama, are you spying in on your characters out of love, adoration, escape, wishful thinking, confirmation, or perspective? Muriel Lester gives us the following words to ponder on. Spying is always an expensive method of acquiring information. Yes, indeed. Deep philosophical words, but absolutely true and easy to understand. Genuinely, I do not actually think it is a bad thing at all to treat TV land as your personal microscope to your own life. You're not actually hurting anyone. You can get perspective. It can take you out of reality, and it can give you options. The other thing about spying on TV land, people do tend to be very visual. I know I am. If something is in front of you, you can see things more clearly rather than trying to imagine. Please. I've not lost the plot entirely. I do live in the real world. I am either saying the things everyone thinks and too afraid to say, or confirming that it's okay, or understanding people's perspectives. But you need to then take TV land for what it is. It is still a person's viewpoint or idea or perspective on a particular topic of life. How about these interesting words from none other than Mr. Oscar Wilde himself? Life imitates art far more than art imitates life. As Mr. Wilde did pass on the 30th of November 1900, he sadly will not be able to read my gratitude, but hopefully he is looking down to know and see that to this day he is still spoken of and people are grateful for all of his words. So does art affect the way we look at the world around us? I would agree it does. Acting is an art. And I do think when people watch TV, they think about it. They talk about it. And as much as I detest reality TV and do not watch it, I hear people discussing it all the time and being totally submerged by it. People do watch TV and compare to their own lives, even if it is the likes of Friends. If each and every one of us had a crystal ball or a microscope, do you think it would make life easier? Besides the fact it would take the great crack out of the anticipation of seeing what happens next and being able to get answers immediately to all life situations that need to be put under the microscope, life would actually be boring. I do want to be surprised by what happens next, and believe me, I have been left gobsmacked in more ways than one. If I continually knew what was going to take place, I would not get the opportunity of sliding in sideways and yelling, "What a ride!" It would be more like walk up to the final place of rest and step in thinking, okay, so that was boring. Look, I know life hands each and every person a shitstorm in some shape or form. And most people think their situation is worse than others. But believe me, not one person is left unscathed in this life. Most of us wish to believe that karma does exist. And when it is kicking the ass out of someone who has done wrong to us, we want to be there to watch. But funny, I had that exact opportunity to watch karma kick the lard out of someone who had done very wrong to me. And I chose not to watch. I chose just to say, okay, it happened. Karma found its way to that person. But I surprised myself in actually taking more comfort in walking away with knowledge than watching. I got huge closure from that. The other thing I think we do learn from TV land or movie land is you do get some sort of perspective on what if. What if I had lots of money? What if I had a high-powered job? What if I was faced with what it would feel like if? Next time you watch a program, if you have not thought as I have, just look at it from a different perspective and you might start to realize what it is you really have been watching TV for. I feel it very apt at this point to bring in Christmas movies. Yes, people, I am going there. And yes, as I type this, it is June 2020. I have been watching Christmas movies, and no, it's not because of COVID-19 either. This has been something I have been doing since my childhood. My sheer love and passion for Christmas comes directly from my mum. 8 years ago, we got married in May 2012, and we should have had a honeymoon that Christmas to Lapland, but alas, for one reason or another, it never took place. And no, we do not have kids, and yes, our home is like Santa's grotto at Christmas. And yes, I am that person who gets fierce upset when people say Christmas is only for kids. It's not. Everyone has the right to believe in magic. And yes, I am well aware it is a hard time for some people. But I do think the whole season brings us an amazing magic, and I strongly believe in it. And in turn, I believe in Santa Claus. Christmas Eve is the most magical day of the year. Spend 5 minutes with me and my Christmas belief, and I will return the sparkle to your life. And yes, in the year of our 10th anniversary, we plan very much on being in Lapland. I have made several suggestions to garden centres that they should do an adult evening where big kids get to go to Santa. All monies could be donated to charity. Not one place has ever done it. So I'm saying here and now, live to everybody, when I get to have a garden, because I live in an apartment, I will create my very own grotto and do it myself. Santa will be in my home at some stage. And no, kids are not allowed. This will only be for adults. Sorry, little people. Anyway, returning to Christmas movies, some would say it is all a cliche or predictable or so far from reality it's not even possible. I pose this question to you. Who bloody cares? Last time I checked, you are living your life, not someone else's. If sticking on a feel-good movie for 90 minutes or 120 minutes gives you the boost that you needed, what business is it of anyone else's, and regardless of the time of year? Now I pose a question. Take your time. I'll still be here while you have a good think about the Christmas movie that holds a dear place in your heart. Let me show you mine. White Christmas with none other than Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye. Rosemary Clooney. The Muppets Christmas Carol. Yep. Santa Claus the movie. Scrooged with Bill Murray. A Miracle on 34th Street. The Holiday. How did you get on with that exercise? These are my top favorites, but oh, the Christmas movies from Hallmark are a complete guilty addiction. I cannot get enough of them. And will watch them all the time. If anyone in Hallmark happens to be looking at this, I would love to be in a Hallmark Christmas movie. Or I'll be in a movie about Santa Claus and I'll play Mrs. Claus. Especially if I get to sleep in that bed in Santa Claus the movie. Why are Christmas movies so addictive and loved? Where we can just go and get lost in? Well, I Googled just to see had anyone actually done a poll or anything. And lo and behold, there was something. And here it is. Why do people like Hallmark Christmas movies? Keep it up, Hallmark. The reason I enjoy them is they are 1, hopeful in a world that is upside down. 2, no sex. 3, no foul language. 4, good values portrayed. And 5, anyone and everyone can watch them and enjoy them. There is literally no denying any of the above, and it is also true. And everything is just so magical. It can restore your faith that even just for 90 minutes or 120 minutes, life can be as you want it. I went on to have a further look and see had anyone else done any more on the guilty pleasure of watching Hallmark Christmas movies, and how I jumped for joy to read an article from December 2018 from a lady called Colleen Dool, who wrote for the American magazine. And I pasted in the final part of her column. Despite how formulaic these movies are, audiences eat them up. The Hallmark Channel posted record numbers for viewership during the Christmas season last year, reaching more than 72 million viewers and skyrocketing the Hallmark Channel to the highest rated station for its primary demographics, women ages 25 to 54 and 18 to 49. During the holidays, the success of Countdown to Christmas has also launched a number of profitable spin-off partnerships and collaborations, including a Sirius XM radio station that broadcasts Christmas music and behind-the-scenes content related to Countdown to Christmas, a Netflix-esque all Hallmark streaming service, and a line of Hallmark engagement rings that enjoy significant product placement in the movies. So what is it about these cheesy mass-produced films that make them so irresistible? Hallmark Christmas movies satisfy, if only in a shallow way, many of the desires that arise in Americans during the holiday season, both the healthy desires and those we might be ashamed of, but are willing to overlook when they come packaged in slickly produced, family-orientated movies that we binge watch in the privacy of our own homes. May I also extend that it's not just Americans. No, it's worldwide. And Hallmark actually have their own channel, and we can't get it here in Ireland. And I've written to them several times asking them, how do we get it? And nobody's come back to me. Oh, I move on. If you take nothing else away from this book that you have indulged in, it is the permission that you are indeed allowed to watch Christmas movies any time of the year and are allowed to be swept off in their magic, cheesy and guilty pleasurable feelings you get from them. I just want to drink hot chocolate and watch Christmas movies. Care to join me? Bye.